PlayStation Plus has recently changed and there are now 3 available tiers to choose from: Essential, Extra and Premium. Today I'm going to be showing you 7 games that have easy platinum trophies on the Extra tier, so let's waste no time and get straight into it. Kicking things off, we have Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is an incredibly fun game and you can even platinum it twice if you want to, because it has both the PS4 and the PS5 version available to download, and yes, it also has an auto pop platinum if you play the PS4 version first. You play as Miles and it's now your job to defend the city as New York's only Spider-Man because Peter is going on holiday, and it's up to you to save Harlem from Roxxon and the Tinkerer. The gameplay is almost identical to the previous game in the series, however this time around you start the game with a bunch of skills and abilities that you have to unlock throughout the previous game, allowing you to get straight into saving the city and unlocking newer abilities such as Venom Blast and Camouflage. Abilities like the ones I've just mentioned are what makes the game a lot more fun for me, because it keeps the combat feeling fresh rather than just doing the basic attacks all the time. You can also use your new Venom abilities to traverse the map faster, and having Camouflage allows you to stealth attack your way to victory, or you can go in webs blazing. The game is open world and has things to do like side missions, getting collectibles and fighting crime. You know, typical Spider-Man stuff, and it's also got the most satisfying web swinging I've ever seen in a Spider-Man game. Getting the platinum trophy for this game is incredibly easy and it's really fun as well. To get the platinum, you need to 100% the game, which is something I absolutely love and I think should be more common with trophy lists. It might sound like a lot, but Spider-Man Miles Morales only takes around 15 to 20 hours to platinum, so it's a much shorter experience than the previous game. Along with getting 100%, you'll need to do a variety of miscellaneous trophies, such as performing a massive combo, getting wall and ceiling takedowns, defeating 100 enemies with Venom attacks, and even paying respects to the legend himself. And even though you have to get a few collectibles, this is no problem at all because you can press R3 when traversing the world and you'll see icons telling you where they are, or you can set a marker on your map so there's no need to follow a guide to get them. Spider-Man Miles Morales has a difficulty rating of 2 out of 10 and like I said before, takes around 15 to 20 hours to platinum. Next up is Horizon Zero Dawn, a post-apocalyptic open world game that's overrun by machines, and you play as Aloy, an outcast who sets out to uncover her past and discover who she really is. Along the way, a dark story unfolds and reveals more about how the world ended up in its current state. You have a device called a Focus that helps you out immensely on your journey, and this device allows you to scan the world around you and reveals enemy locations, humans, enemy pathing, components, and can even help you repair damaged audio files. You can kill the machines roaming the lands in many different ways. Simply shooting them with basic arrows isn't going to be enough, unless you're playing on easy. You can use special arrows to blast off components, set up traps, and with the help of the Focus, you can determine which status effect is best to take down that machine. Things like fire or ice can be used to deal massive damage. To get the platinum trophy, you have to do pretty much everything the game has to offer. Complete the story, complete all side quests, kill and override all types of machines, obtain blazing suns at hunting grounds, and many more. The hardest trophies in the game are the ones for getting the blazing suns, and these are a variety of timed challenges, and some of them can be quite difficult if you're not sure the best way to go about them. There's no shortage of things to do in Horizon Zero Dawn, and the version available is the complete edition, meaning you get all the DLC with it, so you can go for all 79 trophies if you really want to, and I actually quite like the DLC, it's definitely worth playing. Horizon Zero Dawn has a difficulty rating of 3 out of 10 and should take roughly 40 hours to obtain the platinum trophy and 60 to 70 hours to get the 100%. Next up we have Wreckfest, a racing game that can only be described as a bar fight but with cars. If you ever played Destruction Derby as a kid, then you're going to fall in love with this game. It's an incredibly fun racing game that lets your destructive side run wild. Have you ever been playing a proper racing simulator like Gran Turismo and you're coming up to a sharp corner but you don't really feel like braking, so you just... That is this game in a nutshell, only on steroids. The game consists mostly of banger races and demolition derbies, which is basically a last man standing with cars or with sofas, and there's a lengthy career mode for you to enjoy as well, and you can even tune your cars in the garage to make them faster, stronger, or even take corners better. So to get the platinum trophy, you don't really have to do a lot considering how many races are actually available. You have to complete each championship in career mode, and you can do this without even completing every single race, and you don't even need to win the events either. You do however need to win every single challenge race in career mode, which shouldn't be too much of a problem, and there's not that many of those either. You also need to win 20 online races, but please don't let that scare you away from the game. You can boost this with one other person in a private match, and it takes less than an hour for both people to get it done. Other than that, there's a few miscellaneous trophies to unlock for things like spending 5 minutes in the air, which you'll earn naturally, driving 1 hour in a lawnmower, and reaching 130 miles per hour with the rocket car. And this is actually incredibly easy, and you don't even need to purchase any upgrades to do it. Simply load up a custom event on the Wrecking Playground main area on a deathmatch event and drive into one of the cannons. Wreckfest has a difficulty rating of 3 out of 10 and takes around 20 hours to get the Platinum Trophy. Infamous First Light is next up on the list, and this is an action-adventure game that serves as a prequel to Second Son, a game which I recently did a full Platinum video on if you want to go check that out. Infamous First Light is set in the city of Seattle, as well as in and around the prison called Curden Cay. In this game you get to play as Abigail Walker, also known as Fetch from Infamous Second Son, and Fetch is a conduit who uses her neon powers to defeat enemies and traverse the world. Fetch was an interesting character in Second Son, and she has quite the emotional backstory as well. You get to learn more about what happened to her before the events in Second Son, and I think the game does a good job at giving you more information about Fetch's life. The gameplay in First Light is identical to Second Son. It feels and plays exactly the same. You complete missions, side missions, defeat enemies, and there's a set of challenge arenas that make the game slightly longer and gives you something else to work towards. The trophy list is really fun, mostly focused around the challenge arenas, along with finishing the story, purchasing all upgrades, completing some activities around the world and getting some collectibles, none of which take very long to find. The only trophies that may take some time to obtain will be the ones that you need to achieve a score of 500,000 in. And this is because it depends on your skill and ability to survive for extended periods of time. Infamous First Light has a difficulty rating of 4 out of 10, and you can platinum the game in just 10 hours, or even less time than that if you're good at the game. Medieval is next on the list, a game I played extensively as a child, but not the full game though. I only had access to a demo that I got from a PlayStation magazine, but I played it over and over again, and I loved it every single time. This is a remaster of the PS1 version of the game originally released on the 9th of October in 1998. Medieval is an action-adventure hack-and-slash game that features simple combat and some platforming elements as well. Seeing this game get remade from the grave up was absolutely incredible, and it has the perfect combination of modern graphics and classic gameplay that doesn't feel too clunky but also doesn't stray too far from the original game either. The game takes place across 22 different levels, all varying in difficulty and design, and there's also a decent amount of weapons for you to choose from as well, such as the small sword, lightning, and you can even use a chicken drumstick as a weapon as well. But my favourite weapon is the overpowered magic sword. It's the best weapon in the game, and it can cut down pretty much every single enemy you come across. You can get this sword by collecting at least 14 different chalices. The game is pretty linear for the most part, and it's really simple and easy to navigate your way around. The only level I didn't enjoy was the ant caves, and that's because it's really easy to get lost in there since everything looks exactly the same. The trophy list is really good and it's really easy as well. You need to complete the story, defeat the bosses, and do a bunch of miscellaneous things such as dying 7 different ways, drinking 32 health vials, throwing 42 chicken legs, and many more. Overall, this is a pretty fun game with some challenging fights and objectives along with some easier ones as well, and Medieval has a difficulty rating of 3 out of 10, and it should take around 10 to 15 hours to obtain the platinum. Next up on the list we have South Park The Fractured But Whole. This is a hilarious turn-based RPG and a sequel to South Park The Stick of Truth. The children are playing superheroes and plan to launch a superhero media franchise by finding a missing cat and claiming the $100 reward. However, not all the children can agree on a franchise plan, and a civil war erupts between them. As I said before, the game is a turn-based RPG just like the previous game in the series. However, in this one, instead of just standing in one spot during the fights, you actually get to move around on a grid, making the combat more engaging and tactical because you can't just pick a move and have it do damage. You actually have to think about the placement of your characters and the moves you select as well. Also, both Trey Parker and Matt Stone were very involved in the development of the game. They wrote the story for it and voiced many of the characters, so you know it's going to be good. As for the trophies, it's a way better time than Stick of Truth. There are no missable collectibles, so you don't need to be watching a guide the entire time you play, and the only missable trophy in the game is for creating a black character and completing the game on Mastermind difficulty, which isn't really that difficult at all. The rest of the trophies are pretty standard. You need to complete the game, and during this step you'll unlock most of the trophies anyway, but after that all you need to do is get the rest of the collectibles, poo in all the toilets, alongside some miscellaneous cleanup trophies as well. There is one trophy that can be pretty annoying to obtain because it's luck based, and that's the Corporate Wolf trophy. For this, you need to reach the highest economic value on your character sheet. So on day 4 you'll do a quest called Always Bet on Chaos, where you have to play a minigame. After the quest is completed, you have access to play the minigame anytime you want to, and you'll need to go from the lowest rank all the way up to 0.1% by getting lucky on random spins. You do get power-ups each round that can make it easier, and it's not a difficult trophy, it just requires some time investment and obviously some luck as well. South Park The Fractured Butthole has a difficulty rating of 3 out of 10, and it'll take roughly 20 hours to obtain the Platinum Trophy. Far Cry 3 Classic Edition is the final game on the list, and oh what a game it is. In my opinion, this game has one of the most iconic bad guys in gaming history, with some incredible quotes as well.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
Far Cry 3 is an open-world first-person shooter set on the fictional Rook Islands. After a skydiving trip goes wrong, you and a group of friends are kidnapped by pirates and are going to be sold into slavery. You manage to escape, and after that it's your job to attempt to free your friends and escape the island. Following this is an incredible story filled with tense moments and twists, and if you've never played it before, then you're in for a proper treat. It's a typical Ubisoft open world game with things scattered all over the map for you to tick off your checklist, like liberating outposts and completing side quests and challenges. The trophy list is what you'd expect from a game like this. You have to complete the story, liberate all the outposts, unlock all the skills, and get a bunch of collectibles. Thankfully, you don't need to collect all of them, which is fantastic, and there's a bunch of miscellaneous trophies to obtain as well, a lot of which are actually fun to try and obtain. The only trophy you should look out for from the very start of the game is Rock Always Wins. You can get this by distracting 25 enemies with rocks, but the enemies do need to be fully distracted by them, which means they need to walk all the way over to where you threw the rock. You can farm this on one enemy if you need to, but there's also a bunch of enemies throughout the game to distract as well. Just make sure you don't leave it until the end, otherwise you might get annoyed by it. Far Cry 3 has a difficulty rating of 3 out of 10 and should take around 20 hours to obtain the Platinum Trophy. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos, and click the video on screen now to check out some fun beginner platinums.